What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to another video in mastering penny stocks. Now, in the previous video, we talked about exactly how it is that you can find the hot stocks, but we went over how you can find those hot stocks and these hot penny stocks that everyone talks about using a pre-market scanner to find stocks gapping up. That's what we covered in the previous video and a little bit more. In this video, I'm going to talk to you about using an aftermarket scanner, or a scanner you would use after the market closes in your free time. At nighttime, you're going to use this scanner, and this scanner is going to be the one that's going to find you stocks that have a good chance of continuing to go up for the next day, but also potentially come down for the next day, depending on if we're going long or short. We're not going to get into the details about which ones you should buy long or which ones you should buy short just yet, but I'm going to show you the scanner, how it's used, and how you can kind of understand it and understand the way it works in finding these different penny stocks, okay? So this particular scanner that I'm going to show you right now that's already on the screen finds stocks after hours or once the market's closed. You're going to use a scanner to find stocks that have closed green on the day, okay? Closed green on the day and have a good chance of, essentially going up or continuing for the next day, all right? So taking a look at the screen here, this is the scan criteria. So again, you can go ahead and directly input this to your TD Ameritrade Thinkorswim scan tab. Again, if you're starting from the chart section or you just logged in, all you have to do is go up to scan, and then you can pull up this tab, and then you can enter in this criteria. The way you would go about creating it is making sure you add the add filter for stock, right? You see how I just added a few of these, and they see how they all say stock. That's what you want to do, is add filter for stock. You're going to need 3 of these sections, okay? You're going to need 3 of the sections. And the first one here is last, right? So this is going to be the price. So going down, so you're going to have price, which is last, volume, and percent change. The price, as it was in the pre-market scanner video right previously, is this is going to scan for stocks 30 cents to $5. You could do 30 cents to $10. If we're going to be considering penny stocks, you're really going to be looking at any stock from 30 cents to $5, but scan for, stocks above $5, because, stocks can go from being $3 or $4 in a penny stock and fly up to $8, $6, $7, even $10, $20, $30, but you still want to consider them a penny stock. And that's a little bit more for advanced trading, kind of understanding that knowledge. But for right now, all you need to know is that this particular scanner will find you penny stocks to trade, all right? So this particular scanner, first things first, is price. This scanner is saying, I want to scan for stocks that are at least 30 cents to $5, but no more than $5. The next row down is going to be volume. This particular scanner is scanning for stocks at least 500 that have at least traded 500,000 shares of volume over the whole day. Now, you may be thinking to yourself, in the previous video, in the pre-market scanner, you said to scan for stocks, that have at least traded 50,000 shares of volume, which is true. But that was in reference to pre-market trading and finding stocks that are gapping up. Right now, we're talking about finding stocks that have closed green on the day and have potentially held their highs. And I'll show you an example of what I mean by this in a second. So we want to scan for stocks that have at least traded 500,000 shares of volume the whole day, which is still really low. Think about it. You don't want to be scanning for stocks that have only traded 50,000 shares or 100,000 shares for the whole day, because if that's the amount of volume that stock has seen all day long, nobody's trading it, and it's going to be very hard to make money, okay? So we at least want to see that a stock has traded 500,000 shares of volume for the whole day to consider it as even a potentially good play for the next day, shall we say. So this particular scanner, all right, scanning for 500,000 shares of volume traded at least for the whole trading day. The next one, and then again, make sure to leave your max blank. But again, sometimes if you take out the number there and you enter in 0 and enter it, it becomes really weird. So once again, it can kind of get really weird when you do that. So you can just make it some astronomically huge number if you would like. But again, we don't care how much volume to scan for. We want as much volume as possible. The more volume, the better when trading stocks, okay? So going to the last row here, you'll see it says percent change. We're scanning for stocks that have at least gone up 5% on the day. So they're at least up 5% green on the day, okay? And we don't want to have a max for how much percent they've gone up because we don't care. The more percent, the better. Same as volume. If a stock went up 2,000% in one day, what's it matter to us? Cool, let's take a look at it, right? So you don't want to leave, you want to have your volume at some crazy astronomical number, and then you want to have your max at nothing. You don't want to have a max for percent as well. All right. So when you run this scan, ideally what we're looking for are stocks that have traded relatively on high volume for the day, and they've closed at least up 5% on the day. So this means that they are green on the day. Okay. 5% may not seem big, which it's really not. But imagine if you were scanning, and I didn't mention this before, but this particular scanner will work really, really well for high price stocks as well. It does the same thing, but in this video, in this section, we're talking about penny stocks. So we're going to be using the scanner in reference to finding penny stocks. But this one also works very well for finding high price stocks too, okay? But again, for this particular video, we're focusing on penny stocks. So we're looking for stocks that have closed at least up 5% on the day and are green. To finish out the day green, in a stock or you're self-trading, when you finish out the day green, that's a good sign. That's a strong sign. That's an upward sign if you can finish green on the day, okay? So this scanner is going to find us some penny stocks that are green on the day. They're at least up 5% or more. So this is telling us that these penny stocks are green on the day. They closed green. They didn't dump out. They didn't crash, right? They're going up, essentially. So we're going to do it. We're going to scan them, and we're going to figure out which one of these penny stocks has went up at least 5%, and they might look good to trade the next day. So this is going to help you find some penny stocks to put on your watch list to keep your eyes on for the next trading day. It's a really easy way to build a penny stock watch list, and it might continue going the next day. All right. So again, before we continue, once you have all the scan criteria in here on TD Ameritrade, you can simply go up here. And I didn't show you this in the pre-market video, and I apologize, but in this video, I'll show you. You can go into here where it says Show Scan Query Menu, and you can actually save the scan. So if you want to, you can save the scan, and I'll do Boiler Room Trading Nightly, nightly scan, right? And I'll save that. So, if I want to load it, if I want to load that scanner, all I have to do is go into my scan tab, into my personal scans, and then I can load it straight from here, right? Let's run the scanner now. Let's see what happens, okay? Okay, we ran the scan. This is today. Today it's pulling up DPW, VVUS, EBIO, and a few other stocks. Now, what we should do is we should take a look at a few of those, okay? So let's go over some of these stocks, right? So pay attention to these screens down here below. All right, so this nightly scan, it's telling us that stocks are up at least 5% on the day. So let's go from here, DPW. So if we look at DPW, it's telling us that DPW did in fact close green on the day, but right before the end of the day, it's seen a really big volume spike, and the stock ended up squeezing up before the end of the day. So now we could say, let's take a look at this stock. Let's see what's going on, all right? And you'll see that, oh, wow, it's been downtrending for a really long time. Remember how I said even if a stock goes over $5, we still treat it as a penny stock? Well, look at this one. This is DPW. A few months back, it was 65 cents. It squeezed up like crazy all the way to $5.95. It almost went up to $6. And I said anything below $5 is considered a penny stock. That's what a penny stock is. Although the price may be above $5, you still treat it as a penny stock. And as you can see here with DPW, the price went from 60 cents all the way to actually $6 to crash all the way back down to 87 cents. And later in this section, I'm going to show you how to track these patterns and trade these particular patterns. Okay? So stay tuned for all this amazing stuff. All right? So what is this telling us? This scanner just found us a penny stock that has started popping up towards the end of the day. It's been downtrending for the past couple months. So maybe we want to watch this. Maybe it's been downtrending for so long that buyers are ready to come back in and start buying this thing back up, right? So maybe we watch this for the next couple days. Maybe this is the start of the next the next bullish move for DPW. Doesn't have to be, but we just found one that may be starting to move from this scanner. Now you can put this penny stock on your watch list at night and continue watching it for the next morning. Let's go into another one. Let's take a look at VVUS. VVUS. Okay, so this one, right? Didn't, not much is going on here. There's not a significantly big move. Though there's not a significantly big move, that doesn't mean that a big move can't happen. Before stocks go extremely big, they usually look like nothing's happening. There's a saying, and the saying is, and you don't have to quote me on it, it's out there, I don't know who said it, but there's a saying in the stock market and in an investing world, you want to buy a stock that nobody wants. The best stock to buy usually is like farmland. Looks like there's absolutely nothing there. Nothing intriguing about just a big row of nothing, a big grass field. There's nothing too intriguing about a huge farm field, right? Nothing really interesting about it. Same thing like this stock right here, VVUS. Doesn't look interesting. There's really not that many people trading it, so maybe I don't want to trade it. Wrong. Yeah, you may not want to trade it, but it doesn't mean you shouldn't watch it, because this thing might be the next Amazon. It could be the next DPW that went from 60 cents to $5. You don't know for sure, but what you do know right now is this stock is up on the day. It's up at least 5%. It's trading on relatively high volume, still really low, okay? Why don't we get a better idea for the stock? Let's take a look at it, okay? So you'll see, oh, it's been downtrending for a really long time. So this already tells you that this stock is not good. If it's been downtrending for it's been downtrending for the past year. So just initially, you got to think to yourself, okay, clearly this is not that great of a company. Doesn't mean it can't turn around, and it doesn't mean that it couldn't have a really good week or a really good 2 days. It could. But for right now, this one, in my opinion, doesn't look amazing. And why doesn't it look that great? Well, it's never really had a massive spike, too. Yeah, I think it's never really had a massive spike. So I'm going to teach you all these analyzing tricks in later videos, but I'm just talking to you. This is kind of the process that you're going to have to start going through as a trader every day till you hone in on your skills so well that you can just scan through it. Just boom, nope, don't want it. Boom, no, don't want it. Don't want this stock. That is the process that you're going to be going through, and I'm showing you exactly how to do it. Later videos will touch more detail on it, okay? But for now, let's continue down this list, okay? So there was that one. Let's take a look at EBIO. I know there's a few other kind of good ones in here. So like EBIO, right? This thing just went from $1 to $1.38 today. It's up 20%. That's good. Up 20%, and it closed relatively close to its highs. Okay. Now I didn't really specify what it is exactly that we might be looking for, but look at this. Look at this chart. It's got a nice uptrend. It's starting to spike, right? This might be a good one to watch. Look at, all of a sudden we have a really, really big, let me put this over here. We have a really, really big volume spike. Look at that volume spike down there on this chart. All of a sudden we had this really big volume spike. That's interesting. Why is volume such an important thing? Again, remember, I always touch on volume, okay? Volume is what makes the stock move, okay? Nobody wants to go to a party if no one's there. That's not fun, okay? It's not fun to be the first one to show up to the party. Hey, you show up to the party and no one's there. You're like, oh, it's really awkward. Exactly. Same thing as a stock, right? Same thing. Without volume, stocks are not going to move. They're not going to look cool. They're not fun to trade. Nobody makes money for the most part. So volume is important. Think of volume in the stock market the same as you would with people going to a party. Without no one there, nothing's going to happen. It's not going to be fun, okay? Not fun. So make sure whatever stocks you're trading have volume. Pay attention to volume spikes. When volume spikes out of nowhere, like we're seeing on EBIO, that's a signal. People are always worried about this thing crossing this way and this indicator going this way, and it's going north and south, and it's got 360 degrees, and it's going into the north terminal. At the end of the day, indicators can help you, sure. But there's nothing more important and more obvious a signal than volume. Okay, volume. That is like the hidden secret sauce. Volume, most important thing. Okay, because without any volume, nothing's going down. Okay, so let's continue. Let's go down this list. All right, let's continue down this list. So let's go to ATNM. Okay, so let's check out ATNM. What's going on here? Nothing really much, okay? And again, that's what light volume looks like. There's hardly any volume that the stock traded. So again, you know, this may not be the best one to pay attention to for right now. Let's go to PGH. What's this one do? Nothing really. What about JCPenney? Nah, okay. I already know JCPenney's junk, so I'm not even going to talk about that one with you guys. Ooh, this looks kind of interesting. Eldorado Gold. Oh, I haven't seen this one in years. So Eldorado Gold. It's been downtrending for a long time, and these are things you're going to learn, but chances are that this one ever really does something big. It's less likely because we've never seen it actually spike. Things like stocks, they tend to repeat themselves. History repeats itself. And if you look back on a long time frame in a stock chart and you haven't seen a stock spike once, when I say spike, I mean go like whoop and then down, whoop, up and down, like a big spike, they're less likely to spike. It is what it is. I really couldn't explain it. It's just history repeats itself in the stock market. And if a penny stock hasn't yet spiked in its entire life, it just becomes less likely that it will. Not that it won't, it's just kind of less likely. And you can almost just kind of brush it off to the side and keep scanning for other stocks. It doesn't mean that it won't, right? It doesn't mean you shouldn't watch it. It's just less likely. After all my experience, I'm just telling you the truth. It's less likely you're going to see it. Not that it won't happen, just less likely. All right. So let's continue. And that's enough there. All right. That is enough. Now, I'm going to talk to you real quick. In later videos, we're going to go over the actual strategy and analyzing and what you're really looking for with the entries and where you want to play them and how you're going to map out, targets and things like that with these penny stocks. But this particular scan, the main reason we're looking at the scan, the main reason, the main play, the main focus of using the scan, creating this penny stock nightly watch list is ideally what we're looking to do is find a penny stock that has gone up today, it closed relatively high, and it might continue going up the next day. This is a scan that we run to find a stock that might continue the next day, right? Rather than actually looking for it pre-market, right? We know the pre-market one, so rather than looking for it pre-market, we're just running a nightly scan and getting an idea of what stocks might actually go up the next day, okay? So that we already are ready for them. We already have a plan kind of in place, okay? And here's the thing, right? You might miss one of the penny stocks that had a really good day. Think about it. This is another one. You may miss the first initial run of a stock on the first day, right? A lot of times we can see stocks go up for 2 or 3 days in a row, 4 days, endless amount of days. But a lot of times we can see a 2-day or 3-day continuation to the upside. You might miss the first day, but if you run this nightly scan, you'll then actually find the stock that had a good day. You'll find the penny stock that had a really good day that might continue up the next day. And that's what the scan is going to do. So ideally, we're searching for stocks that have a good chance of going up the next day. And we're going to get into the analyzing and picking them a little bit in some later videos. But for now, you now have a scanner that's going to pick you up stocks, or penny stocks, shall I say, at night, okay, or after the market closes. And ideally, we're going to be looking for the stocks that are closing relatively high on the day that have a good chance of continuing up for the next day. All right. So stay tuned. We're going to continue on in mastering penny stocks. We're going to be covering many, many more videos. We're going to be covering many more scanners. So stay tuned, because the next videos are going to be going into scanners very similar to the ones that you just seen right here that you can use if you're not located in the United States. So in these next videos, we're going to be talking about using FinViz as a scanner. It's a website that runs a free stock scanner. So we're going to talk about FinViz. Some of you may be familiar, some of you may not, but if you live in another country, you should be able to use their online free stock scanning software to create your self-watch list and understand what's going on in the market still. And then we're going to be talking about some of the most sophisticated stock scanners on the market. So even for those of you that use TD Ameritrade, if you want to step the game up and you want to get into some more sophisticated stock scanners, and those of you that live outside the country that don't have the availability to use Thinkorswim scanners, you can use these Trade Ideas scanners. I'm going to walk you through how to set up all these cool scans, momentum scans, and pre-market scans, and all sorts of different scans, so that you too can use these same scanners. All right, so stay tuned, continue going on through this section from video to video, because that's the way you're going to get the most benefit out of this whole section. So stay tuned.